Boom, boom, boom. 8 weeks. 8 weeks. LA. Last set. Boom, boom. Okay, so I wasn't doing that for your benefit. I just had to finish my workout and I wanted to set the camera up for this. How you doing? Last week, talking with a client online, she was expressing how, with raising kids, the business, husband, all of this other stuff going on, how challenging it was. It was causing a start-stop kind of pattern of training. And I suggested to her something that I used probably 15 or so years ago, maybe 20, and I still do it, and I'm doing it right now. But breaking my workout into pieces. I typically train 2 to 3 hours a day, 7 days a week. And not every day is weight training, not every day is cardio, not every day is stretching. Some days, just soft tissue and recovery work. So my suggestion to her was, well, take your primary pieces and break them into 10 and 15-minute chunks. And maybe do a chunk in the morning, chunk at lunchtime, chunk in the middle of the afternoon, and chunk at night. Maybe some strength training, in the morning or cardio. And of course, preceding with a light warm-up and a cool down to loosen up those body parts. And of course, obviously eating, the best you can the whole time. And then, getting to bed and getting that aspect taken care of. But piecing it or chunking your workouts is a really great way to still feel effective, get a sense of satisfaction and accomplishment with what you're striving to do with your goal. And at the same time, being true to yourself and not letting yourself down. And I think this is probably the most important aspect of it. Whenever we've picked goals in the past, some of us, including myself, we've picked a goal and for whatever reason we just couldn't hit it. And it's not that we failed at achieving that goal, it's that the timing for that goal put into the schedule of things that we had wasn't adequately planned out. So we had to do less than our best. And the gap between starting and stopping got bigger and bigger and bigger. But the goal was you didn't stop. So now we want to increase that frequency, get the baby chunks together, track what you're doing. The other day I put up a post on how do you measure up. And I suggested, taking some time, setting some goals. I'm getting ready for the Mr. Los Angeles in about 8 weeks. Typically, every year, for many years, I did a show every year at a minimum to just keep myself striving to do better than the last year. And it wasn't necessarily about winning to get a trophy, it was more about winning and still keeping my entire client base full with scheduled clients, still having somewhat of a personal life, still achieving some other academic achievement as far as that related to what I did professionally. And I still do this to this day, and I think that if you're a generalist, meaning you do something but you never finish, you never take the test, you don't ever finish the book, you say you're going to compete, you never hit the stage, or you just, say you're going to get married and you just never pull the trigger and get married. Staying married is another story. The process of achieving and setting goals is what drives us to move forward. And I think also sometimes a lot of people will say, well, I don't want to box myself in. It's too much pressure. That's another self-sabotaging story, like procrastination, like perfectionism. You got to let all that stuff go. You have to focus on setting a goal, hitting a specific stride to reach a specific date in a particular kind of condition, or take the test, or get married, or whatever the main event is. Without us setting goals, without us having a desire to achieve, we don't move. There's no speed, there's no challenge, there's no growth. And you pretty much flatline. And I've seen people do this for years and years and years of their lives. So that's the number one tip. Actually, 2 tips on making yourself happy. Chunking, you know, breaking your workouts into pieces. The other is to set goals, measure. If you haven't checked your body fat in a while, check it. You don't know your weight, check it. Haven't done pictures before and after, get them done. Take measurements of all your stuff, right? You don't need to do your PR on the bench or the squat or all that unless that's your thing and that's who you are. Then that may be your way of doing it. As far as physique athletes, better hit the stage. Don't compete and don't have another show lined up after the last show. Otherwise, you're going to blow up and you're going to be feeling miserable. Trust me, I've seen it a million times. So, set the goal, follow through on the goal, immediately have a goal number 2, 3, 4, and 5 lined up so that you always have something to strive for to continue to become the best you can be. All right? Peace. My name is Emile Jarreau, M2 Fitness Pros in Long Beach, Cali, also known as